Hey guys, how's it going this morning? It's time to build the Mudrock. I meant to build this last Monday, but so we're actually kind of a week late on this one. How's it going, everyone? Good morning over there on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. Let's see who's here. Lulasa, Kabir, Brian, Man Kitlam, Debugged. How you guys all doing? Michael, hello. Yes. It's Monday morning, back at work, and got a pretty full schedule today with some pretty cool stuff that I'm going to be working on after this build is done. How's it going, John? Good morning. Or good evening there. After this live stream, I'm just going to build up this Mudrock. Shouldn't really take all that long. It's pretty relatively straightforward HGUC kit. Then after that, I've got to record my videos for the best and worst kits of 2019 and also the best of the decade. So I'll separate that into two videos. I've got that, all that pre-work is done, selecting in a careful selection process of which ones I wanted to put on the list. I think I've got a pretty good list. For the best of the decade is going to be, it's like the top 30 kits of the decade. It's really hard to narrow it down, and I wanted to include I wanted to include different lines. So like I wanted to include like kind of like the best of some of the different lines and stuff too. So yeah, it'll be top 30 of the decade. So I need to record those videos and then work on editing those, and then also, you know, obviously probably later on tonight record the Mudrock. And I've got another work in progress video coming for you guys as well that I was working on Saturday night. That is not a work in progress on the G40. Although I do need to do a little bit more work on that before it's ready to paint. A lot of people were suggesting to me to separate the front skirts on the G40, and I wasn't planning to, but a lot of people wanted to see that, so I think maybe we'll do that. I'll modify that as well. I didn't really care about it, but a lot of people wanted to see it, how to separate the diaper as it is there on the G40, so I guess we'll do that modification as well. But before I work more on the G40, like I said, I have a different work in progress video that is actually on the little Nachin tank kits, the Kaviko little tank kits. They're over there. So I'm working on a couple of those. So I got that work in progress video I need to edit. That it's just the first of probably a few work in progress videos it's going to take for those. Kabir, the desk setup is good. The desk setup is all done for now. I put my video out for that a couple days ago, showing the new desk setup. That was just kind of like a handheld video, which I don't really particularly usually like doing, especially with my big camera, because it's heavy and it's hard to hold for a long time and it's hard to keep it steady for a long time. But I did my best with that, and the video came out fine. You guys at least could have a look around the new desk setup. So that's all set up. I'm just waiting on the new compressor and stuff, and hopefully that stuff will be delivered later this week. It was sent out on Friday, and so hopefully later this week. It shouldn't take more than a week, I would imagine, to get to here. So that stuff's coming. I'm expecting a delivery today as well, actually, of what's in there. I'm suddenly forgetting. There's a few things in the delivery I'm expecting today. I'll show you guys this. We'll kick off this video before we get into the live building. We'll kick this off as sort of like a Gunpla delivery video. Since I'm not going to do this as a separate video, I'll just show you guys a couple of things that I got as of late. Couple of things I got last week. You have the unicorn version Shinanju Stein HG kit. So looking forward to that. And as I mentioned in different videos before, I have just like a kit of the Armed Armor DE shield in 144 scale, and that I want to use with this to give it the Armed Armor DE shield, like you can do with the Master Grade. I want to do that there with the High Grade. And then also the another unicorn version of the Riga Z. So got those in, so I'll need to work on those. We still need to build the Dodge Kai first though. And some supplies. So even though my airbrush is not working, I do want to do some painting this week. So on the Nachin tanks, so I just got some spray can primer to at least spray the primer, and then I can do the painting by hand. So we got mahogany primer, white primer, and gray primer, just spray cans, just to use while my compressor is not working. And then I got some of this. This is Gaia Notes. What is it called? Brushmaster thinner. So it's basically, as far as I understand it, this is basically like the equivalent of leveling thinner from Mr. Color. So just like the equivalent of that, just for Gaia paints. I haven't used it before, so I'm gonna try using this, doing some hand painting with the Gaia Notes. So we'll see how that works. And just some top coat, gloss coat. I have some flat top coat in a spray can form, and another one of these. I not too long ago worked on one of these. This is the internal structure Gundam, really cool figure, and I just basically just detailed it up. I just added like panel lining and some detail painting and some decals, waterside decals and stuff on it, and then top coated it. But with this one, I want to, the painted side, I want to repaint it in different colors. Probably not prototype. What is it? Real type. Probably maybe real type colors I want to do for this. So, and the reason why I actually picked up another one was because it was really cheap. It was like $13 or something, $12, $13. I thought, yeah, I can repaint another one of those. That is fun. So, all right, let's get into the building then, shall we? So that was a kind of quick Gunpla delivery video. And yeah, we'll see if the package that I'm expecting is gonna come while we're streaming here, if I know that it's coming. Because I think the delivery guy, he called this morning and said that he was just gonna put it in front of the door, so I don't know if he's gonna even ring the doorbell. And even if he does ring the doorbell, I can't hear it in this room. So if he calls me back again, then I'll know that it's here, but I don't think he's gonna call, so maybe later, before we wrap up the stream, I'll just go and check if the package is there yet or not. But alright, so one thing about the Mudrock here is that it's got the different forms, right? The incomplete and the complete version. So we'll build it up as the complete version. Well, you build it up as the incomplete, and then you kind of add the complete parts, right? I guess, as far as I understand it. So we'll see all of that. It should be easy enough to switch between the forms. Sometimes during like these live streams, I don't like to build it into the more complicated form, because then I have to take it all apart again, everything for the review. It's kind of annoying, but as long as it's a relatively simple process with this one, I don't mind doing that. What's going on, Ricardo? Which compressor did you get? June Air. No, Ricardo, I got my new compressor is coming from Sparmax, actually. I don't know what June Air is. You're winking at me like I should know what that is, but I'm not sure actually. Does USA Gundam store carry scribers? I think yes, when they're in stock. But as far as I know at the moment, I'm not sure what is in stock now. I don't have that in my head, what is in stock at all times. You're welcome to check. Fred, another Gundam Alex design. Yes, I guess, is the Mudrock related to the Alex? It could be. I don't remember offhand, but you guys would know better than I. Like I mentioned in the unboxing, that I know there's people that really like the Mudrock design. For me, it's a design that I like, but it's not one that I'm like super duper into, that I really know a lot about. So it's not at Gundam. I've never played the game, and I've never like done research into this Gundam. I've never like read the wiki page or anything, so I don't really know particularly all that much about it. But I know there's a lot of people who are bigger fans of this Gundam who probably know much more about it than I do, so feel free to let me know. June Air is a Japanese compressor known for being extremely quiet. Ricardo, no, I have not heard of that actually, and no, that's not what I got. There's torso. I really like the torso though of this. I like the gray around the blue of the torso of like the cockpit hatch there. I like how protruded out the cockpit hatch is, sticking out like that. It's kind of very Katoki style kind of looking thing. I like that. Pretty cool. All right, let's build the. Should we follow? Let's for a change. Let's just follow the manual, shall we? And build the head next. And we've got a couple of stickers. Pretty much the only stickers here are mostly just for the head, basically. So we've got for the eyes. Now what do you guys think? Green eyes or red eyes? What's the difference canonically with the eyes? And what's better, green eyes or red eyes? What do you guys think? Let's see. Just over there on Twitch, Torpedo, thank you for your subscription there on Twitch. Gert, how's it going, bro? And Matt's watching. At least he commented just a moment ago. Last Pack Magic there on Twitch is one of my brothers from another mother back in my hometown. My best friend's older brother. Matt, how's it going, bro? Cool to see you there. Green, green, red, green. You guys are not voting on the eyes. Red, green, green. Jerrybot says blue, so I guess we're just gonna paint the eyes on the spot. Let's go with green, because then it'll be different from the head cameras. Okay, you just see this up close. There we go. Face and head. Unfortunately, it's the type of head that's separated front and back half, so you'll have the seam line down the side of the head. I would definitely prefer the types of head that are the two sides that come together, and then you have a separate part for the top. Is much better. Then usually if you have a seam line that's not covered up by the top of the head. Go on there. It's usually just on the back of the head. But it's okay. A seam line on a HG Gundam head is not surprising at all. It's going excited to see me in action. I am in action. And I think I put the wrong sticker on here. Did I? 3 is on the front. Okay, I put the sticker for the front of the head on the back of the head by accident. Or it didn't look like it fit right on the front of the head. And it fits right on the back of the head. Strange. Anyway. There we go. Get on there. Alvin, good morning. Mojojo, hey, howdy, hey. Yeah. Excuse me a moment. Get on to there. Alright. So, yeah. As I was saying, just about the airbrush and compressor that I'm getting, this stuff is coming from Sparmax, and I'll explain this all when I get the stuff. I'll do a video about it and everything, of course, but Sparmax, I think I've known about this for a little while, just because I've heard about the Sparmax a bunch from especially the Australian guys like Ryan at Hobbyco there in Australia, and Lincoln and Aaron and those guys use Sparmax stuff. And this part on the front of the head is not wanting to stay there. But the one thing that I didn't know at first when I first heard about them from those guys is that Sparmax actually owns Iwata. So a lot of people, much more people are probably more familiar with Iwata as an airbrush and compressor like supply company. But yeah, so I think probably I would assume a lot of people are in a similar boat as me, as they just not knowing that Sparmax actually owns Iwata. I don't know when that happened or what, but so what I've heard is that so that they're basically the same, if not better quality than Iwata, just because the company now is trying to put more focus into developing their Sparmax products. So that's pretty cool. So it should be good anyway. I'm sure it'll be at least as good as the compressor that I was using, which was just like a really cheap, simple one. So as long as it's just as good or better than that, then I'll be happy with it. As long as it works, right? Honestly, the noise doesn't really bother me at all. The last one I had was kind of noisy, but it wasn't to a point that it bothered anyone. So as long as it doesn't bother anyone, then I don't care. Revan, how's the build? How's the build so far? It's pretty straightforward, just kind of pretty standard HGUC kit here. So it's not bad. It's good. It's good. We haven't gotten into any like really special or particularly unique spot of the build or anything yet. I think though, especially on the backpack, just going through and preparing the parts and everything, I noticed that especially on the backpack we're going to have a lot of seam lines, unfortunately. But other than that, I think should come out to be a pretty solid kit here. So you've got essentially, I mean, just by the way that the joints and polycaps go together, you've got essentially a full inner frame on the arm, as much as you can call it that, if you're including the polycaps in that. Let's see, that goes here. That, like that, on the side of the arm. And top of the arm there. And our hand. Pretty standard, simple hand options for this kit. You do have a trigger finger hand separate from just the regular holding hand, so that's nice. At least we have that. So I'll set the trigger finger hand off to the side. We'll just stick on the regular holding hands for the time being. This yellow piece around the cuff, though, it's nice that that's a separate piece. I think that could have very easily just been a sticker, just a yellow sticker to wrap around there. But the fact that that's a separate piece is pretty cool. So that's nice. That's the arm, and then the shoulder is a little bit more complicated, kind of. It's another case where we have parts. There's an actual like regular non-polycap part, and there's a polycap part that look almost exactly the same. And they probably could be interchangeable, but they do have a specific use. What was the kit? Another kit we built recently was the same way. Was it the Seltsam, I believe, or it was during the last live stream? It was either the Seltsam or the Eldora Brute. One of those was the same thing, where it had different options. So if you're just building just the incomplete form, then that's all it is just the shoulder like that. Maybe we'll build like half complete, half incomplete, so you guys can see side by side. Oh, so that's just the regular incomplete form shoulder, just kind of very simple, basic shoulder there. But the complete form is a little bit more going on here. Matt, what are you doing there? What's the points and commands? I'm not sure what you're doing there. You probably know a whole lot more about Twitch than I do, being a Twitch watcher of different poke streamers and stuff. I use Twitch a little bit, but I still don't really know like how it works actually. So I forgot the part at the top of the arm there, didn't I? Matt, hello from South Carolina. Hello, South Carolina. That's a gun. Not that's yeah. Speaking of South Carolina, it's actually not related to South Carolina at all, but just related to travel. I have some other news for you guys, which I'll also need to make. I'll just have a video about this probably later today. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, just like this afternoon, or just very shortly after this. Actually, I'll have a video for you guys talking more about this. But just those of you who are watching live, I'll give you the first scoop. Is that later at the end of this month, I'll actually be traveling to Chile. Yes, South America. I've never been to Chile. I've never been to South America before, so it's gonna be my first time there. But there's a Gunpla and just kind of scale modeling, just kind of modeling in general event there called Quinta Habi, and they invited me there, so I'll be going to not Santiago, Viña del Mar. Sorry, I keep thinking it's Viña del Mar. At the event is February 1st and 2nd of this month February of this month. Focus. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. Apparently June Air is an American company. Just lots of Japanese builders use it. Oh, okay. I didn't know. Yeah, I haven't heard of the company at all. Ricardo. Axia Holtz, a question for you. Do you like the Mac-K designs better than some Gundam ones? Better than some Gundam ones? Yeah, sure, because there's some Gundam designs that I don't really care too much for. So yeah, I'm sure there's... And like... Even among Machine & Krieger, there's some designs that I don't really like. So, in Gundam, Mac-K, Frame Arms, pretty much any mecha property, I don't necessarily like everything that they make. Like, for example, just among Machine & Krieger, I don't really like some of like the more chunky designs, like the White Knight or... Ammo Knight, those like kind of really huge ones. I'm not really super into those designs. I like the smaller ones. Dang, I'm just messing this up here. Like the Raptor, the Snake Eye, the Fireball, stuff like that are the ones that I actually like more. And then for like anything larger than that, it's also kind of hit and miss. Like not that into the Nutcracker, but I really like the Luna Diver. The Griffin, the Falk is really cool design, but not really into. What's the other one? Now I'm suddenly drawing a blank on the name. The one that like looks like a satellite or something. It's very goofy looking. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Michael asks, are you going to the IPC event in Riva? I don't know what that is, Michael. Feel free to enlighten me. That doesn't ring a bell. I don't know what that is. IPC event in Riva. What's that? You're building the Ammo Knight right now. Yeah, the Ammo Knight, like parts of the design I like, but like especially in the feet, I really don't like the huge feet that it has. They're just kind of very goofy looking. I kind of get that it looks kind of very realistic in a way. But yeah. Disappointed in the plastic quality. Maybe I'm just not used to these older kits, but it feels like knockoff plastic. What's it? IMF Gaming, what's the kit that you're building that you're talking about? Brian is also from South Carolina, so a couple of you guys there from South Carolina, Canada, Utah. How's it going, guys? Sci-fi modeling event. Riva is Richmond, Virginia. Okay, yeah, I didn't know that. Sorry. Yeah, no, I'm not as far as I know. John Bias is going. That's good. You guys should hang out with John. Good guy. He was here a moment ago. I'm not sure if he's still watching now, but I would like to. If I was living in America, I surely would probably be going. That's definitely one thing that I'm looking forward to about moving back to America next year is being able to go to different events and stuff around. Because like to go there from here is obviously it's much more of a trek than just going from Florida to wherever. So looking forward to attending a bunch more events next year there in the States. What Gundam anime do you recommend if you just finished IBO? Well, what else have you watched aside Andres? Aside from IBO, what else have you watched? Because if IBO is the only thing that you've watched, then there's, I think, probably a lot that I would recommend. But if you've watched a couple other things, then maybe it depends. But so there's a look at the incomplete or complete version of the shoulder armor. Andres, nothing else except for Iron Blood Orphans, then it depends. If you want something that's like much more realistic, I guess, well, Iron Blood Orphans has kind of like a realistic vibe to it and like sci-fi realism, as in like futuristic sci-fi realism. If you want something that's like much more like grounded realism, then 8th MS Team is of course not only my favorite, but a lot of people's favorite. A lot of people love that. It's very good. 8th MS Team is great. But you know, a lot of people would probably recommend you also go back and watch the original Gundam, and or Zeta Gundam as well. But if you want something that's like just like fun to watch as well, then I would recommend maybe something like G Gundam. A lot of people maybe you're not gonna agree with that, but I think if you're kind of a new fan to Gundam and like your only introduction so far is Iron Blood Orphans, then you probably enjoy a little G Gundam just for fun. But it's definitely quite different from other Gundam series, and like I said, it just depends on your personal preference. If you want something more realistic, or if you want something just more kind of fun and goofy, which also has Gundams in it. Gundam peaked at G Gundam. Yeah, I wouldn't really particularly recommend watching Gundam Wing. For a lot of people, like especially a lot of Westerners who are similar age to me, like kind of our generation, a lot of us got into Gundam through Gundam Wing, but Gundam Wing has not really aged well. It's not really one of the better series, really. I think it's worth a watch like later on, but I wouldn't recommend it as like one of the first series you watch, because I guess it did manage to get like a lot of us, like I said, people in my generation, it got all of us like hooked in on Gundam, but we were also teenagers at the time, or even like preteens. So I don't know. So I think like if you're watching, if I was like in like 1999, 2000, when like Gundam was on TV, if I was, you know, the age I am now, watching that, I'm not sure how much I really would have been into it. So I would recommend watching Gundam Wing eventually, but probably not straight away. Gundam Seed was fun. Yeah, Gundam Seed is fine. Yeah, I think it gets a lot worse rap than I think it really is. It's not. I mean, there's annoying parts of it, and it's not that bad. I don't think. Destiny definitely got worse for sure, but I would think, especially if you're new to Gundams, watching Gundam C would definitely be a lot more entertaining than watching Gundam Wing. I got the little yellow V-Fins crotch sticker here. I'm gonna need to look at this up close. Gundam 00 stands up. Yeah, Will, that's a good point. Gundam 00 also is probably pretty good. Another one that's a lot of people's favorites, Gundam 00. It was one that I don't really count amongst my favorites, but I enjoyed it. Surely. I've still yet to see the movie, though. A lot of people say just don't watch the movie. I didn't not watch the movie intentionally. It just have never gotten to seeing it. Yeah, the origin is also fantastic. Thunderbolt, yeah, also fantastic. Again, if you want the kind of little bit more realistic kind of side of things. Actually, this is a point, I think, or like a similar point to what I've said about Iron Blood Orphans. My thoughts on Iron Blood Orphans that I've shared many times before. Earlier when I mentioned that Iron Blood Orphans is kind of like realistic sci-fi in a way, in just that I should correct my statement. I think it's sort of realistic in like the first few episodes, and that's what I really liked about Iron Blood Orphans at the beginning, was because it had this very dark theme of being about like child soldiers and stuff, and it had this very kind of like future child soldier military kind of feeling to it, which was kind of like which was dark and like believable kind of in a way, and I think worked really well, and that's what I think a lot of people liked about the series at first. But then I think probably a lot of people like me cared about the series less and less as the further they got away from that, and it just became like a pretty standard kind of anime, almost. So I've said this before, and I'll say it again just because I'm pretty certain about the factuality of this without having any actual proof. It's a best guess that I think is probably pretty close to being correct, is that I remember seeing after the first couple episodes that Sunrise got backlash because the show was airing on TV in Japan, and Sunrise got backlash for how violent the show was for being a Gundam show, which is watched by a lot of kids, and the first couple episodes were pretty violent. And so they had to, change up parts of the story and make it much kind of less dark from then on, which I think then just kind of like threw the whole story off. Like, I think they were started off good in that, and they should have just stuck with that, and they should have just said, well, if you're a kid, then don't watch it. But they have to appeal to kids, so like I think they had to just change it up, unfortunately. So anyway, I've talked about that many times in the past as being my thoughts as to kind of what went wrong with Iron Blood Orphans, in my opinion. Still not a bad show by any means. Just I think it was much better at the beginning, and then just I think Sunrise just got spooked, unfortunately. but they still managed to have some kind of dark moments, I suppose. But too much of it sort of went the way of like cringy generic anime fan dark, not like, I mean, it started up like the at the beginning it was like, you know, I don't know, realistically dark. It wasn't like, oh, I'm an evil guy with my eye turns red and I get a bloody nose. That kind of stupid stuff. Anyway, moving on. I don't want to talk about that anymore. If you guys, if you have other questions, just a reminder to anyone there watching in live in the chat. If you guys have questions, just feel free to put those in all caps so I can pick it out in the comments there. All caps, or tag me in your comment. Justin asks, are we going to get a best and worst kits of 2019? Nobody has one yet. Yes, I'm recording, as I mentioned this, Justin, earlier in the stream. You maybe came in a little bit later. But yeah, I mentioned that earlier in the stream that actually right after this, that's my next plan for today, is to record that video. So I'll have the best and worst kits of 2019 and also best kits of the decade. Not worst. For the decade, I'm just doing just best. Best kits of the decade. So yeah, that will be recorded today and then posted tonight and tomorrow. Tonight and or tomorrow. So this is the right leg first. Will you do more Gunpla shopping videos soon? Miku, will I do more Gunpla shopping videos soon? If I do a shopping video like in Chile, I don't know if I'm going to visit any shops there in Chile, but if there is, I can maybe do one there. But that's the only thing I really have planned. But Miku, later this year, I'm hoping to go to Osaka and make a like Osaka Gunpla guide, sort of like I did with the Tokyo Gunpla guide. So more stuff from Osaka there in Japan is the plan. I'm hoping to, but we'll see. The schedule is kind of a lot of travel kind of already in the plans. Iron King asks what got you into Gunpla. Just watching Gundam on Toonami, like I said, around the 99, 2000, around there. Is this kit better than the RG resin kit? The Sazui resin dress-up kit that I just got? Is this kit better than that? It's kind of comparing apples and oranges. I can't really compare them. What's a good follow-up to the MG Barbatos? I don't know, the MG Dynamis, I guess, if you haven't built that, just because it also came out earlier this year. Earlier last year, and it's also a very good kit. If you guys haven't seen Jabman's videos, Jabman's video, or videos, I guess, he always does the Master Grade Kit of the Year. And I saw his video the other day about his pick for Master Grade Kit of the Year, and he picked the Barbatos, and he said it was a very tough decision between the Barbatos and the Dynamis, and I definitely agree. Surely going to be a tough call between the two of those. And I want to do the incomplete form on this leg, so I'm going to take that off actually. And this one and this one. So we're going to do, oh, this is the right side, not the left side. On the right side, just for the sake of showing you guys, now for the time being, we'll have incomplete on the right and complete form on the left. So there's that, much more simpler. Have you ever, Tristan asks, have you ever built the MG Gyan? No, I've not ever built the MG Gyan, actually. Grimwing asks favorite master kit. I'm assuming that's master grade kit. Favorite master grade kit. I don't know. I don't really have one. A favorite. There's a lot of really great ones out there. Let me see. Just Arioni, thank you. Am I pronouncing that right? Arioni. Thank you for your contribution here. When can we expect an update on my Master Grade Barbatos? Master Grade Barbatos, yeah, as soon as I got the compressor, because I need to spray some gloss coat on that so I can work on some detail painting and pen aligning and stuff. So, probably the next Barbatos work in progress video should be next week, assuming my compressor arrives at the end of this week. So maybe, hopefully, I'll be able to work on that during this coming weekend, and then have another work in progress video for you guys next week, is likely. Hello from New York, Zaku Kai Boy. I'm building the MG Alex for a diorama with the Zaku 2 Kai. Cool. Are you gonna enter that in GBWC or something with that? Whoa, Priest. Asks, how do you deal with burnouts? Ah, yes, burnout. I don't really get burned out, probably for a number of reasons, which I've talked about this in different times in the past. I really do, just because I've had to talk about this at different times, and even after making a video about it, I'm sure I'll still get asked about it, but I should make just make a video about this. I should like really take the time to gather my thoughts about it and make a proper video answering this question. And I'm sure I'll still get asked, but at least then I can refer people to the video. But anyway, yeah, burnout's just not really a thing that I've ever really dealt with. I think there was just kind of like, there was one time when I was feeling kind of burnt out. It wasn't exactly burnout, I don't know, but there was kind of one time when in like the past 5+ years that I've been doing this channel, that I was really burnt out. And that was because I went home, like to my parents' home, for like 2 weeks or something, like during a summer vacation. This is a few years ago. And like just being out of it, just like not doing anything for like 2 weeks, and then coming back, I don't know, I just felt like I don't really know why. I just was having trouble like getting motivated like to work on stuff. I don't know if it was just kind of like because I felt that I hadn't worked on anything for so long, it was kind of hard to get back to it. And I think probably part of that was that I maybe felt very behind in my mind. I felt like I'm so behind, like, and that was kind of like stressing me out maybe, like stuff that I wanted to work on. So it was maybe hard to get back to it just because like I was just stressed about the situation of being behind. I think that was probably part of it too, but just in general, I don't really get burnt out, and there's a lot of reasons I think probably, and it'd be kind of hard to summarize that into any one simple answer, but definitely one thing that I can tell you for sure helps is just having multiple projects going on. And I know that's not easy for people, especially if you're on a budget and you can only, afford, a kit maybe here and there, something you can't afford to buy a bunch of kits all the time or whatever. But so much as you can afford, while you're still able to take care of your needs and whatever else you have in your life that you need to take care of, having multiple projects going on at the same time can be helpful. Because then if you're not feeling particularly that you want to work on one project at that time, just work on something else for a while and come back to it later. Or you may not come back to that project for years and years. I have works in progress that I haven't touched in like a year or more, multiple years. So it happens, and you know. But I think that can be one thing that helps with burnout. The other thing is, I think, just not to worry about it. I think that probably really is the best way to deal with burnout. It's just not worrying about being burnt out, and not ascribing that label to what you're going through. If you don't feel like working on something, then you shouldn't make yourself feel bad about it by saying that you're burnt out or whatever. You just don't feel like working on that. You just don't feel like doing that. This is like, and especially as long as you're not doing this for a job. Like for me, now that I'm doing this as my living, I mean, you could say that like now I don't have a choice. I have to do it, but that's kind of a dark way to look at it. I love doing this, so it's not like I ever like look at it in that way. But I do think that as long as you're not doing it for your job, then you should just be doing it just for fun. And if you're having fun, that's cool. If you're having fun doing something else, then that's cool too. If you're like spending all your time playing video games and not working on Gunpla, then don't get down on yourself for feeling like, I should be working on Gunpla, or I'm burnt out on Gunpla. No, it's not that you're burnt out on Gunpla, it's just that you're having fun doing other things. So yeah, anyway, that's just a couple of thoughts on burnout. Sorry, Matt, I don't know if you're still watching there on Twitch, but let's see. How hard is it right now to multitask building and looking at 3 different screens? Has to be brutal. Yeah. Well, I've only got one screen, unfortunately, here, but yeah, I've got the chats from YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook all open at the same time here, and I've been pretty much neglecting. I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to the Facebook chat. Sorry, anyone who's watching on Facebook. Just because people generally aren't chatting very much on Facebook. There's not a lot of comments and stuff there, usually. And then I have just like my in the corner my screen monitoring what you guys are seeing. It's not that hard to multitask, because what I'm like, the part of the building that I'm doing here is not super complicated. But I do try to keep up with questions and stuff there in the chat as much as possible. Have you ever used Happiness urethane clear color paints since you're in South Korea, where they're available? Thinking of importing some. Actually, Michael, I've never heard of that. Happiness urethane clear color paints. I've never heard of those. If they're Korean, I don't know them. What do you use to store your Gunpla parts before or during the build? This thing that I'm using to store the stuff. I'll show you here in a moment. Hang on. There you go. This thing. Hang on. I'm just moving this stuff out of here into the box. Yeah, this thing is just one of these. Yeah, you can get it at hobby stores. Basically, not like plastic model hobby stores. Maybe you can, but like craft stores, I think is a better word. Craft stores, where they have stuff for like making jewelry or tools, stuff, small tools, anything like also maybe like fishing stores. Maybe they might have these for like fishing stuff. Probably a hardware store. Yeah, anywhere you can get these. Very convenient for just snap building. I don't really use them too much for like painting and stuff. Tenzing it's okay for them to use caps lock. I ask people to use caps lock if they're asking direct questions to me because it's easier for me to see them in the chat. So caps lock is fine. Yeah, you can find them at Daiso too. Yeah, Daiso has them, but they're not as good. At least the Daiso here in Korea and even in Japan. I don't know if I've seen nicer ones like this. This is a little bit nicer one than what they have at Daiso. The Daiso ones are pretty crap. Very cheap, of course, but this one was only a little bit more expensive. I think it's like $4 or something, so it's not that much. $4 or $5 maybe, max. And there's two different sizes, so I have a couple of them. That's a smaller size, which I use for HGs, and then I have a couple larger ones, which I'll use for the master grades. They're bigger parts, obviously. And also, this is going a little bit ways back. I know Bear King on Twitch asked this a little while ago, but did you get the G40 Gundam? Yes, Bear King, I did get the G40 Gundam. I unboxed it, live stream built it, reviewed it, and also did a work in progress video on it so far. And we'll probably do one more before we get around to painting it. Alright, let's build up this backpack and call it a day so that I can go and record the best and worst kits video for you guys. Shall we? So the backpack is pretty cool in that it's all black. But it's going to be one that I think people are going to maybe complain about the nub marks on it, because any like really dark pieces of plastic, it's going to show nub marks more, and if you're not careful, you know, that'll happen. So you just have to be careful with your nub removal. So we got our cannon barrels here. We got seam lines down the length of our cannon barrels, which is not very surprising. And this main part of the backpack here doesn't really have any seam lines on it, so that's good. We have our thruster bells here. There's two different sizes. I'm trying to mix them up. And I don't really like how the thruster bells are also in black. I wish that those were gray. Because now, like, the whole... So I wish that the backpack was not all gray. The part that went in for, like, the center of the backpack and then the vents up here at the top is all black. I wish that was gray, and then like maybe the thruster bells were gray and just like these outer parts were all in black. I think would have been nicer. Justin asked, how are the seam lines on this kit? Other than the backpack, it doesn't really have a whole lot of seam lines on the kit actually. Like here on the lower legs, there's a seam there, but it's made up as a panel line, so that's cool. On the arms and on the shoulders, it's just molded as just kind of an edge detail there, so there's no seam there. There's a seam on the head though, so basically just a seam on the head and a little bit of seams on the backpack, and that's pretty much it. So pretty good overall. Let's see. There's a couple other. Michael Dort asks, Zako, what do you think about the yellow feet? I like the yellow feet. I like yellow feet. If you guys look back through like my painted builds, you'll see I very rarely ever paint the feet red, which is what they usually are on most Gundam designs. And then yeah, even on like other things too. Yeah, I almost always, at least for like the past handful of builds, I don't know, I'd have to go back and check, but I often will paint the feet in like not the color that they are supposed to be. Oftentimes black. I usually like a kind of dark gray, like for the feet. It just kind of seems like it makes sense, realistically. Kabir said, GBWC currently does not cover the UK. Any chance that can change? I've heard that there's a chance that GBWC might be expanding to the UK in the future. Hopefully sooner than later for you guys over there in the UK. But I couldn't say for sure, and I couldn't say exactly when, but I think that is definitely a possibility. It's definitely possible. So don't lose hope. Those of you in the UK, just keep buying Gunpla. As long as Bandai's getting good, solid sales out of the UK, then they'll know that there's a market there. And Lee asks, how do you keep parts organized while painting? While painting, Well, let me show you this. It's a little bit messy here at the moment. Here's my Barbatos parts. I just have them laid out in the box. That's all. I have the towel down there. Other times I maybe won't use a towel. Like for example, the Gyaradogo, which I'm also painting, I'm not using a towel for that. It's just in there, so they just have. It's just a cheap, like old towel. Just they're laid on top of, just so, yeah, nothing gets scratched or anything. It's not like they're gonna get scratched on the bottom of the box anyway. But this is just the box of the kit, so they're in. Nothing special. I will sometimes use like these separated boxes like this. Something like this, so just like a tray with separators in it. I'll use to keep parts in while I'm doing the painting. More so usually during the priming process. Once the colors are sprayed on there, then I don't like to put them anywhere where the pieces are going to be banging around against each other too much. Tim does. Tim's brave. With his, like, I've seen when Tim's painting, he just chucks all his painted parts just like in a bin together, and I couldn't do that. So I like to keep them from touching each other as much as possible. So usually just, laying out all the parts just in the box is the best way I've found for me. So yeah, when it comes to just like the actual building, when I'm not using one of these, or when I'm preparing to use one of these, people use like the runner stands, or they use like different contraptions, things they've built or made, whatever, to stand up all the runners in while you're building. I don't use that. I just use the box. And then for painting, I just use the box. So the box that the kit comes in is a very useful tool, actually, for a lot of the steps along the process. Oh, and that's upside down. The beam sabers are meant to be on top of the cannons. Guess I should have paid attention to the manual. So those are on the wrong side. But that's a wrap, pretty much, here for the Mudrock. I'm gonna put the stickers on. Sorry, I was just realizing that I'm right next to the microphone, so it's probably blowing your ears out, maybe. Kind of unfortunate that we don't have stickers here for the little cameras on the underside of the cannons. There's little cameras there, look like little camera details. Let me see. Yeah, and not really. Sometimes on the sticker sheet here, like around the cameras, there'll be enough like printed red around here that I could just like cut out an extra little square of that and stick it on there, but it's not really quite enough. Maybe, we'll see. We'll take a look at that maybe during the review. But I do want to place just these marking stickers on here just before we wrap up. So okay, the big EFSF logo, and I want to check out the shield too. So that just goes here, there on the shield, and the little sixes go where? 3. One of them goes on this shoulder. Like that, okay. Fofi, why are you complaining about, why are you saying nub marks? Did I miss some nub marks somewhere or something? I don't think so. Zaku, what's your favorite grade of kits to build? You seem to build a lot of HGs. Michael, I build a lot of HGs because Bandai makes a lot of HGs. Bandai makes HG is much more than anything else, so that's the reason why you see me building them more than others. But my favorite to build, well, that said, my favorite to build is probably also HGs. I like HGs. They're fun, simple, but that said, building a good master grade is really super fun as well. That's why, even though I'm not a super big Barbatos fan in general of just the Gundam, I really did enjoy that master grade because it was a really fun build. And I really enjoyed the build of the master grade Barbatos. So yeah, like I enjoy building a good master grade. But the RE kits generally are really fun to build as well, just because you have it's like building an HG, but the parts are really big and really nicely detailed. And so they look really cool when you're building that. And unlike a master grade, the RE kits go together much faster. So there's fun, quick builds, REs as well. So I don't really particularly have a favorite grade to build. I just like building. So there's the Mudrock. Pretty cool, dude. One thing that I did, I don't know anyone else who's built this kit already, and I haven't looked at other reviews to see if any other reviewers mentioned about this, but I did notice while I was just cleaning up the nub marks on this kit, the plastic felt a little bit softer in some areas than usual. Barely, just a little bit. I've just kind of felt that. You know, I build a lot of kits, so I feel like I could probably notice that, and I noticed it a little bit. There's some bits felt a little bit softer than usual. I don't know. So if any of you guys have also built it or noticed that, let me know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just random, or I'm just wrong. But Danielle asks, what Verka kit do you recommend? Honestly, probably the the master grade Verka kit. I recommend either the Schnenjustein, the new, or the Sazabi are probably the best. But also the Thunderbolt kits are also really good. I think they're definitely a little bit more of a chore. The Full Armor Gundam and the Psycho Zaku are both really great Verka kits as well. Also the Verka ball is an amazing kit, actually, if you can get over the fact that it's just a ball, relatively simple, but just it's a really cool kit, actually. All right. So before we let's see. Before we wrap up this, let me see if I got a delivery there in front of the door. Hang on, and I'll show you guys what I got if that package did arrive yet. Let's see. Okay, well, 2 packages came, and the good news is that one of the packages is my new compressor. I was expecting that later this week, but it came Monday morning, so that was really fast. So that's cool. Okay, so my new compressor is here. That's good. And this other box, I forget what's in here. Actually, it's not the box that I was. So the one thing that I was expecting is not what came. This one, I think I may want to include this actually in a proper video, so I'm just going to take a peek to remind myself actually what's in here. Yeah. I think I better do actual proper video on that, so I'll save that for later. I don't want to show that to you guys now at the moment. But you know, the good news is my new compressor is here. So unfortunately, I think I can't play with that right now because I need to work on, like I said, the best and worst videos. I need to get that done as soon as possible. But probably later this afternoon if I have time, but probably more likely tonight, then I can play with a new compressor and get that all built, put together, and installed over here as well. So that's cool. We can get back to painting and really didn't need to buy these primers. That's, well, oh well, at least they're here. I can use those for whatever. Bought the spray can primers just to use for the few days while I was waiting for the new compressor, but I didn't have to wait a few days. So, yeah, that's it for the live stream for today, guys. Just the Mudrock. The next live stream, like I said, the last live stream, I was gonna put it to a vote. You guys voted, those of you guys who were watching live, but it was so close I couldn't really tell who the winner was. So, I'll just remind you guys, I'm gonna throw this up on YouTube. I'll put a poll there on YouTube. You guys can vote. So for the next live stream, the choices are going to be the Wave Batroid kit, the Macross Batroid kit, or the Figurized Labo Miku for the next live stream build later this week. So I'll put after this, I'll go and put a poll up on my YouTube community tab. You guys can go there and vote for which kit you want for the next live stream build. And then the next one after that is probably going to be the Dodge Kai, the Master Grade Dodge Kai. But we'll do something else in between, something non-Gundam in between for the next live stream. So that is it for now. Thank you guys for hanging out this morning. I'm going to go work on the best videos, and also I'll have an announcement video also about the trip to Chile. So some more information about that as well. I'll see you guys later. Have a good day. Bye, guys.